The Indian hog deer originates from the Indian subcontinent and parts of Southeast Asia. It is native to countries such as India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Historically, its range also extended into Pakistan and southern China, but in many of these areas, populations have declined due to habitat loss and hunting. The species was later introduced to regions outside its native range, including Australia and Sri Lanka, where small populations have become established. The Indian hog deer prefers grasslands, floodplains, and riverine forests, often close to water sources. It thrives in areas with tall grasses and dense vegetation, which provide both food and cover from predators. These deer are particularly associated with the Terai region, the lowlands at the base of the Himalayas, where fertile soil and seasonal flooding create ideal conditions. During monsoon seasons or when floods occur, they may move to higher ground or forest edges. Their adaptability allows them to survive in a range of environments, but they depend heavily on open grassy habitats, which are increasingly threatened by human activity and agricultural expansion. The Indian hog deer is currently classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List. This means the species faces a very high risk of extinction in the wild. Its population has undergone a significant decline over the past few decades due to several factors, the most critical being habitat loss and fragmentation. Much of its natural grassland habitat has been converted into agricultural land, settlements, or used for livestock grazing, leaving the deer with fewer safe areas to live and breed. Another major threat is illegal hunting and poaching, both for meat and for sport. In some regions, the species is also affected by competition with domestic animals and predation by feral dogs. Flooding of riverine grasslands, one of their preferred habitats, can also periodically wipe out local populations. Although the Indian hog deer is still found across parts of South and Southeast Asia, its populations are scattered, small, and isolated. In some protected areas such as Kaziranga National Park in India and Chitwan National Park in Nepal, conservation efforts have helped maintain stable populations. However, across much of its former range, the species has become rare and locally extinct, highlighting the urgent need for ongoing habitat protection and anti-poaching measures. The Indian hog deer is generally a shy and solitary animal, preferring to stay hidden in tall grasses or dense vegetation during most of the day. Unlike many other deer species that move in large herds, hog deer are typically seen alone or in very small groups, usually consisting of a female and her fawn or, occasionally, a few individuals feeding together. They are most active during the early morning and late afternoon, resting during the hotter parts of the day to avoid predators and extreme heat. One of the Indian hog deer's most distinctive behaviors is its unique way of running. Instead of bounding gracefully like most deer, it runs with its head lowered and tail raised, moving through tall grass much like a wild boar, hence the name hog deer. This movement helps it stay under the cover of vegetation while escaping danger, making it harder for predators to spot. The species is also known for being highly territorial. Males, especially during the breeding season, will defend small areas and often mark their territory by rubbing their antlers against trees or shrubs. They may become aggressive toward other males that enter their space. Despite their solitary nature, Indian hog deer show a strong attachment to specific home ranges, frequently using the same paths or resting spots within their territory. When threatened, these deer rely heavily on stealth and camouflage rather than fleeing long distances. They will crouch low in tall grass to avoid detection, only bolting at the last moment if a predator comes too close. This cautious and secretive behavior, combined with their reliance on thick vegetation for cover, makes them difficult to observe in the wild. The Indian hog deer has a compact and sturdy build, giving it a stockier appearance than most other deer species. Its body is low and solid, with relatively short legs and a slightly arched back, which helps it move swiftly through thick grass and underbrush. The head is broad with a blunt muzzle, and the antlers of males are typically three-tined, though smaller than those of many other deer. This body structure contributes to its ball-like movement, which inspired its common name, hog deer. The Indian hog deer's coat is generally golden brown to dark brown, often with lighter underparts and a small white patch on the throat. During winter, the coat becomes thicker and slightly duller in tone, while in summer, it is smoother and brighter. Fawns are born with white spots across their bodies, which fade as they mature. The tail is relatively short, with a white underside that becomes visible when the animal raises it, often a signal of alarm. The size of the Indian hog deer is moderate compared to other deer species. Adults typically measure around 105 to 115 centimeters in body length, with a shoulder height of about 60 to 74 centimeters. Males are generally larger and more robust than females. Adult males usually range between 50 and 60 kilograms, while females tend to be lighter, averaging 30 to 50 kilograms. This compact yet muscular build makes the Indian hog deer well adapted to its grassland and forest edge environments, allowing it to move quickly and quietly through dense cover. The Indian hog deer is generally a quiet and cautious species, relying more on stealth and alertness than on vocal communication. However, it does produce a few distinct sounds, especially in situations involving alarm, mating, or interaction between individuals. When startled or sensing danger, the Indian hog deer emits a sharp, barking alarm call, similar to that of a muntjac. This loud, abrupt bark serves as a warning to other deer nearby, alerting them to possible predators such as tigers, leopards, or humans. During the breeding season, males become more vocal. They produce short grunts or snorts while pursuing females or challenging rival males. These sounds are often accompanied by body posturing and antler displays, reinforcing their dominance and readiness to mate. The intensity of these vocalizations increases during confrontations but usually ceases once one male retreats. Apart from these situations, Indian hog deer are mostly silent animals. Females and fawns may communicate through soft bleats or mews, particularly when staying close to one another for safety. These gentle calls help maintain contact between a mother and her young in tall grass, where visibility is limited. Overall, the Indian hog deer's sound repertoire is limited but highly functional, used sparingly and effectively to signal danger, establish dominance, or maintain social bonds. The Indian hog deer is not among the fastest of the deer species, but it is remarkably quick and agile over short distances, especially when running through dense vegetation. Its average running speed is estimated to reach around 40 to 50 km per hour, which allows it to escape most predators in its natural habitat. What makes its movement distinctive, however, is not just its speed but its low, boar-like running posture, head down and body close to the ground, helping it weave through tall grass and thick undergrowth with ease. This unique running style is one of the reasons it's called the hog deer. Rather than leaping gracefully like other deer, it charges forward in a straight line, keeping low to remain hidden and avoid entanglement in vegetation. This adaptation suits its grassland and riverine environments perfectly, allowing it to quickly disappear from sight when threatened. While it cannot maintain high speeds for long distances, the hog deer's burst speed and agility are its main defenses against predators like tigers and leopards. Its alert nature, combined with sharp reflexes and strong legs, enables it to react swiftly at the first sign of danger. In open areas, it relies more on speed to flee, while in thicker cover, its ability to dart and zigzag through the grass helps it escape unseen. The Indian hog deer is primarily a grazer, feeding mostly on a variety of grasses and tender shoots found in its natural grassland and forest edge habitats. It prefers fresh, green vegetation, especially young grass that grows after seasonal rains or flooding. These areas provide abundant food that is easy to digest and rich in nutrients, supporting the deer's active lifestyle and muscular build. The hog deer also consumes a range of herbs, leaves, and fallen fruits, making its diet somewhat flexible depending on the season and habitat conditions. During the dry season, when green grass becomes scarce, it supplements its diet with shrubs, creepers, and agricultural crops near human settlements. This adaptability helps it survive in a changing environment, although it can sometimes bring it into conflict with farmers. The species usually feeds during early morning and late afternoon, when temperatures are cooler and the risk of predators is lower. It grazes quietly, often in cover, rarely venturing into open areas for long periods. Because the Indian hog deer depends heavily on grasslands for food, the loss of these habitats to agriculture and development poses a serious threat to its survival. Its diet, while simple, highlights how closely this deer's life is tied to the health of the floodplains and meadows it inhabits. The Indian hog deer follows a seasonal breeding pattern, with the exact timing varying slightly depending on its geographic location. In most parts of its range, particularly in India and Nepal, the breeding season, or rut, occurs between September and December. During this period, males become more territorial and display increased aggression toward rivals, often engaging in antler fights to establish dominance and win access to receptive females. These contests, though rarely fatal, can be intense, with the victorious male gaining exclusive breeding rights within his territory. Once mating occurs, the gestation period lasts around 220 to 230 days, meaning that fawns are typically born between May and July, at the start of the monsoon season when food and shelter are abundant. This timing ensures that the mother has access to plenty of fresh vegetation to support lactation and that the young have good cover in tall grasses to hide from predators. Usually, the female gives birth to a single fawn, though twins are occasionally reported. The newborn is small, spotted, and well camouflaged, relying on its mother for protection and nourishment. The mother hides her fawn in dense grass for the first few weeks, visiting it only to nurse, which helps reduce the risk of predation. The fawn begins to follow the mother after about a month and is weaned at around 6 months of age. Females generally reach sexual maturity at about 1.5 to 2 years old, while males mature slightly later. Under good conditions, they can breed annually. This careful synchronization of breeding with seasonal changes, combined with attentive maternal care, has evolved to give the Indian hog deer's offspring the best chance of survival in their often challenging environments. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for even more viewing pleasure. Don't forget, like and comment. Feel free to share.